the greatest. Look at us, mama, we made it. I'm going in like I'm bathing. Yeah, they had a buzz, but we shaved it. They got me feeling like some gay.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode. This is Talking Riches. I'm here with the great Demetrius Bing, paint artist, artists of all sorts. One of the greatest up-and-coming artists out of Charleston, South Carolina. Today.
There you go.
Yes, sir, man. So, Demetrius, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Appreciate you, man. So, on the show, I like to start with the foundation, right?
Right.
The importance of who raised you. You know, who made you who you are today starts with the blueprint. Starts at home.
Right.
So let's start there. Who raised you?
My mother, Vera Bing, very influential in my life. My dad was in and out in my life, but we have a great relationship. We grew to have a better relationship later on in life. But my mom raised me thoroughly. A single mother.
Perfect. So, with your childhood growing up, tell people how it was in your childhood. What was some stories or some sayings that your mom gave you? What is some quotes that she's used on you that you still use today and you still live by?
That's a good question. It's like never be too trusting. Everything that glitters ain't gold. I think everybody's mom said that. But that's some things that translate into things that were seeds as a child. You'd be like, what does that mean?
Right.
But then when you get older, all the experiences, I understand what she's saying now. I understand why she feels that way. And I understand why she told me that. Those are some of the things.
Everything glitter ain't gold.
Right.
What did that mean to you? Why is that kind of indulging your mind today?
Just like like even like somebody that seems too good to be true. That's like maybe like a friend, or maybe like associate, or maybe somebody just gives you opportunity. But there's always something behind it when the opportunity is another hand. So it's like a hand wanting, but also saying they're going to give you something. So even like, quote unquote pretty girls, like growing up, she's like, you watch out for them girls, they got some things, and you ain't the only one that they like, and you ain't the only one that likes them. Okay. Yeah.
So let's talk more about that, man. Your experience about, especially being in Charleston, the Charleston women, like the beauty of them too as well. So what are some things that you kind of look out for if you was to date someone too as well now?
I always looked out for consideration. Because that means that there's going to be times in relationships that you put me before you. Sometimes, like, I have to put myself before them, or they put themselves before me. So that loyalty, dependability, courage, strength. It doesn't mean it has to be a man's strength. I want a woman's strength, where I can rely on you to be what you are and designed to be, instead of me having to tell you what to be. That's the thing.
Okay, that's deep, dog. That's deep.
I mean, it is what it is. But it's true though. Like, you gotta think about it. Like, we're on a journey in life, and if you want somebody, one-on-one for the rest of your life, or whatever your journey you want somebody that can also carry their weight and not add to you. Right?
That's true.
Right.
That's true. Clip that.
For sure, man.
All right. So now let's go back to your art foundation.
Right.
When did you first see your first art piece when you was a kid? We'll start there.
Okay.
And how did you fall in love with it?
That's the funniest thing. So I knew, like, in kindergarten, funniest thing about it, I think about it, coloring books. I never liked the color in the lines. I never did. It would bother me that it was like a push thing, color in the lines. And I used to be a doodler. So I used to draw. Like, I used to draw cartoons, every cartoon there was at the time. Dragon Ball Z Turtles, Batman, you know, of course, stuff like that. Power Rangers. I always drew that, and it looked like it was that like prolific. That was my thing, and then became more of a sports guy. So I became an athlete. So I fell in love with that more than the arts. Plus, being, you know, back in the 90s, doing art wasn't cool. So they're like, man, you gotta go play ball or something.
Yeah.
So I grew back in love with art later on in life because I found appreciation of it, because I found art in everything. And I just found connected me back to my roots and ignited that flame for me in art.
Okay, so you started with based like the Dragon Ball Z characters. I was the same. I was that guy who draw. When Super Saiyan 3 came out,
Right. Fire.
With the long hair and shit.
Yeah. Fire.
Little lines and
little
nose.
The little lightning bolts and like the different shoes, the clothes, the texture. I love that. I love that.
Yeah. So with you being inspired based by like the anime.
Right.
Was that your first inspiration to it?
Yeah, that was because as a child I dealt with a lot of trauma, little stuff that I was dealing with at home. Like didn't have a peaceful home life. So drawing was me of like zoning into this
paper, zoning into this world and creating something, and just actually being good at something and not hearing outside noise.
I never really liked coloring in between the lines as a kid. I just felt like there was so much other space to fill.
Right.
And it's like, it was basically like telling me, you gotta paint this for this to be complete. But I didn't understand why, because I don't really, like I said, we had to talk, I don't really like rules. I don't.
That one right there. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't really like rules. Like, I don't like being feeling constricted to something. I don't like being quote unquote guidelines. I kind of feel like I'm a rebel to some degree. So that's why I like abstract form that I do know, which is abstract expressionism, because I'm just expressing. Because I can do a whole canvas and put a little bit of color here,
right? And
I understand why I did it, and it makes the viewer focus. Why is it only there in all this dead space?
It's like as a cinematographer, scribing director, right? One of my, I'll say my mentor told me, like, you don't want to have dead space when you do an interview. Right. To have something look busy in the background. Not too busy, but looks a little bit busy. Right.
But art also, I feel, and this is my opinion, dead space is always, should be there.
Correct.
Because sometimes you fill in a space and you ain't filling it up with nothing. So if you want to fill it up with more, how can I say, more feeling, more emotion, composition to the piece, sometimes dead space is there, is warranted.
So that's how that works there. I like that, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna continue, man, the growth.
Let's do it.
Right. So now you're a kid. You understand. You watch Dragon Ball Z. You just doodler.
Yeah.
Now this is middle school Bing.
Okay.
Where were you at middle school Bing? What city? Still Charleston.
Still Charleston.
All right. What school?
Lang Middle.
Lang. What's that? Where's that?
That's in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina.
Okay, so Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, right?
Yeah.
And usually in middle school, you start to kind of find yourself in who you are. It's an awkward moment too in people's lives.
It is. I was awkward. That was awkward as hell.
So how was you as an awkward kid?
I was awkward. I played on a basketball team in 6th grade. That's when I really started like developing like friends and playing that and finding more of a love to it, because it's more what your friends doing. So you also want to be inclusive and be like, I don't be left out. Because so like you find out that you didn't have independent thinking, but you still like other things that you would kind of like hide. Right. So I always liked different like paintings, different drawings. I still loved it, but I didn't like let my friends know I loved it.
Would you think that they would judge you was like, hey, this guy is weird, or he's a nerd, or
probably the nerdy stuff? Because even like music, certain music, I didn't like, all the hard rap music and all that time. People listening to like, what was that at that time?
What year was this?
2000. I'll say about 2002.
2002? Okay, 6th grade, 2002. So what? Cash Money was...
Yeah. So I would listen to Cash Money,
yeah,
but I'm also listening to Lauryn Hill.
Ah, nice.
And I love Lauryn Hill, I love the Fugees. My mom played all that, so I loved old school R&B. I loved R. Kelly growing up.
Yeah.
All that, DMX.
Would you still play R. Kelly today? If you listen to R. Kelly today,
That's a hard question, but nah. You know what? The funniest thing, I'm an artist,
right?
And I understand that there's duality of a person.
Break that down for everybody. What is duality?
So I can be, so like R. Kelly. Okay, I'll say R. Kelly. R. Kelly can be this phenomenal musician, artist. R. Kelly makes music that, how can I say that, stand the test of time for people. They connect you to different things, just like Michael Jackson. So the duality of that is he can be this great artist, but also he can be this person that did these horrendous things with other people. It's just that you have to draw your line, what you want to be a part of, and what you want to remember this person for.
Right.
You know, you don't forget what he did, but you also remember what he did do.
That was Robert.
Yeah, Robert. Robert was doing his thing.
Yeah.
Whatever his thing was. Even just like Michael. Like,
correct.
Michael, one of my favorite artists ever. Probably my favorite. They put all those things about him. And now he's dead. Probably the greatest artist of all time. But then also it's a lie. So it's like, I ain't saying R. Kelly's stuff is a lie, but I'm just saying some stuff can go up and down. You know, you never know.
Right.
But you can also be good and you can be bad.
Correct.
You got to give people the landing space to be like, okay, I'm not perfect. It's a landing space. Listen, I'm not perfect. You can't judge me on everything I do. And that's how I look at me with my art. So that's why I'm so open with my shortcomings, things I've done, things that happen to me. I'm open with everything that ever happened in my life.
Nice. So I want to speak more about. It was right there.
What is it? I got
so, all right. Yeah, the duality part. I'm going to break down more in that.
Okay.
Right. So how do you separate Demetrius from being Bing, or Demetrius from being the artist?
That's a good question.
The personality in the art, like how I'm Ron, but then it's Ron to Riches.
Right.
So people call me Ron or call me Riches.
Right.
So break down your separation.
Okay.
And how would people know that they're speaking to you as a person or you as the artist?
It's the switch. The switch when you've arrived and what you know who you are. So that's when people see the difference in you. For me, it was more, I'm Demetrius. I was kind of like the popular kid, one of the popular kids in school growing up. And it's like that when you grow up, like you see you doing something else. And then like at 30 years old, people that I went to school with see me now as an artist and they're like, I didn't know you did that. I didn't know that was in you. You don't fall. And then you get all these accolades for certain things that you do. And it's set to the side because that's what you do. That's who you are. And then also, I'm this too. I remember I was Demetrius. I'm still Demetrius Bing. And also I'm Art of Bing, Bing the artist, whatever people refer to me as. But then it always ends up to mesh together. They find a meeting place. Because I can still have a good time, get a drink, chill, be this guy, play ball.
Be the normal dude.
Be the normal. But when my alone time, when I want to lock in and focus and create an art piece, I do that. And then I go back outside.
It's like this, right? So I live in New York, right? And like with the millionaires and billionaires that I met, right? I met people who created Cardano crypto. She just sold her company for $3.3 billion. Met the owner of Pepsi, Coca-Cola, right? It's like, man, one thing I want to do is, even though I have a lot of money, I'm still one of the guys. I want to be treated as one of the guys when I go out somewhere.
That is very true. Yeah, I can see that.
So I do understand that part, right? So now let's go back. Now you're in middle school. Back in middle school again.
Okay, let's do it.
So you talk about how you being the awkward kid in 6th grade to 8th grade. If someone wanna, even like today's age, they're like 30 or 25 or 21 or so, and they don't want to be labeled, not really labeled as a nerd, but they don't want to express themselves to others. How can someone break through that challenge of just being themselves and actually enjoying what they actually love in life?
So kids are very judgmental at that age because, you know, we're also trying to find ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's not common all the time as that young for somebody to know who they are and who they want to be. So when I go talk back to schools, my primary focus, especially at that age where I was at, when I talked to them, I said, just because your friend loves basketball or football or this, and you might love fashion, if that's your thing. You can love fashion. That could be your thing. It's okay to love something outside of your group. Because we all got groups. In school, they got cliques. You know, it's the jock stuff like that, whatever. It's okay to love something else that calls you. There's always going to be something that calls you, but something that calls your heart, it's okay to love that and get at some love too. So what I would tell them is just remain on the path of being yourself. Understand yourself. Give yourself, your body time to get in time with your, to coincide with your brain and then with your heart. If you love art, if you love painting, don't stop painting just because your friends say that's not cool. Have your own identity. Have your own thoughts. But at a young age, everything's impressionable. Everybody around you is impressionable. Because what you like might draw a type of audience that you want. Especially for boys. You know, with young girls, you be like, man, let me go play sports. All the girls gonna love me.
Yeah,
that's what I did.
The cheerleader's gonna be, you know,
yeah, that's what I
cheerleader.
Did. Right. Yeah. It was so cool walking down the hallway with a jersey on.
Y'all went to Garrett though.
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
You were at Coach Boo.
We had Coach Wood and Coach Kerr.
Okay.
Yeah, we had Coach Kerr. So even like wearing the dress up stuff, like you wearing a shirt and tie to school, and you different from everybody in the class. Correct. You get to leave early, you know, just to get ready to go to practice or go to games or stuff like out of town. It was just cool. But it's like I said, I go back to the young me and find out what was missing, and I pulled back from that and added to me now.
What was missing during your young you?
The young me was missing somebody to take me up under their wing. So I take my own self up under my own wings now. Because I'm not saying I'm a complete man. We're still working on ourselves.
Correct.
But I've learned things about myself through my journey of failing, you know, being broke, living paycheck to paycheck, not having no money, you know.
What was the most challenging thing that you had to overcome?
Oh, man. I just had a wreck March 18th. That was pretty rough. Couldn't walk too well. Couldn't lift my arm. It's kind of hard to look at myself being weak and vulnerable for once. Because I always been strong. I always, you know, helped my mother, helped my friends. I always was there. And then learning, I think the number one thing I learned from the wreck is learning that you can be there for everybody else and you're not as important that you think you are to other people. Because it's like what you would be like for them as a friend, they would never do it for you. So I went in there, you know, I'm old enough to know that, but
like who's gonna be there for me at this time in my life?
Yeah, when I'm weak. And I took it and I thought about it and I was like, you know, that's my fault because I'm looking for myself out of others.
Why was that?
I was looking for that because as a friend, and anybody could tell you, I didn't do things just to get a pat on the back. I knew if somebody asked me something, they needed it. Even if they didn't even ask me, I know they needed it because we talk about it. So I just stepped up and took initiative. Most people don't. That's the thing I've learned, that people want to be asked for you to do for them or for you, or it's like, I don't know why, like, I don't know. If you see your friend on the side of the road and they're walking, you want to ask them, do you need a ride? Or you're just going to say, get in the car?
Yeah.
Common sense, you probably say.
Hey, where you trying to go?
There you go.
We need to go. I got you.
Yeah, there you go. So that's why I look at myself as how am I as a friend. So That is not everybody.
Mm.
So that was challenging mentally, and then the physical part, losing a piece of my eyelid in the wreck, not being able to see out my eye for 3 weeks. It was hard going to sleep with your eye closed and waking up with your eye closed.
That's crazy.
You see what I'm saying?
What?
So imagine washing your face and not trying to get soap in this eye. Because this one is already swollen shut. Yeah. So it was kind of weird going to sleep. This is always closed. So it's new appreciation even for vision. Imagine people that don't have vision. I have abundance of appreciation.
It's like, especially walking, taking a step,
driving, walking,
basics,
being able to dress yourself, take a shower alone, feed yourself, everything. And because everything stops, especially if you're the engine in your own life, financially. But the funniest thing about the wreck, which I knew it was God's plan for me to let me know what I needed.
Mm-hmm.
My right hand, which I paint with, is the only thing that wasn't affected. No cuts, nothing. Everything else was cut up, beat up, bruised. This was fine. I could do this the whole time. Nothing changed. I couldn't do this with this hand, this arm, this leg, but I was good. I was painting with one eye. But
did that, with you having that one eye, right? Did that change your view on art and how you created it?
It gave me another gear, because I painted off of trauma, pain, and that's normally a lot of my story, why I started painting. So now I have another gear, because I had basically every physical reason not to paint that whole time. But while I was healing, I was getting on the ground, painting canvas, and it did add some more dimension to it. To start putting more of reflection of more of a visual of me on it. There's this piece right behind me sitting on the couch. That was me sitting there, and I painted myself, looking at myself, feeling that room. That's why the colors in the background was like that, because that's how the room felt. And so tainted.
Nice. So you mentioned Basquiat.
Yeah, that's my guy. My favorite.
So Basquiat, I see some of his work in yours too.
All right.
So when did you first learn about Basquiat, right?
Right.
And how did he influence you to be an artist, or your style of art, or him in general? Because he was short-lived too as well.
Right.
Also make him a legend.
Right. My thing was, he was just so prolific, and it's kind of funny with the going backwards from it. The wreck he got when he got hit at 7 years old in the wreck.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's why he paints off the anatomy. That's the book he had in the hospital to read. So if you notice, a lot of his paintings always have the skulls or the body, or even a lot of oppressive things that he was going through, like being a black man at the time. It's a lot of anger, and I can relate to a lot of the anger, a lot of the antsiness, the big feeling of being looked over because he was looked at like that. I think his paintings always spoke to me because I could feel the message. I could feel the energy, what he was trying to put out. Sometimes we can't put it in words, but when you can paint it or draw it or any type of creative way to do something, you can feel it and look at it and hold it in your mind. And I think that's where a lot of his connectivity was, because I always felt like after probably about 6-7 years ago, I got this painting for Christmas. It was a painting of him. It was my ex's sister gave it to me, and I still have it.
Wow,
I love it. It's one of my favorite things. And I moved a couple times, and there's no damages, nothing. I just love that painting, and it just it's a funny thing. I'll tell you the story about it. So I was sitting there painting, and I have it looking at me while I'm painting in my studio, and it was on the wall. And one night, I'm just sitting there painting, and I just started talking to myself. I was like, I need to know, like, I need to be full in, and this is what I need to be doing. Mm-hmm. No lie. And I'm sitting there just painting. This painting just jumped off the wall. Nothing never fell, never like twisted on the wall. It just fell off the wall. And I was like, okay. So I had all these different signs from even like connecting with him. I feel like I'm connected with him somehow with what he does. And I makes it feel like with what I do on the canvas. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like that, man. So now a lot of people in life, right?
Right.
Especially at our age, once you hit 30 or you 27 and above, going through life who experienced trauma of some sort. How do one first, especially with personal growth, spiritual growth too as well, how can one person go back to a childhood, right? So in order to grow, you have to kind of correct that trauma.
Right.
How did you was able to correct your trauma, forgive and let go, and able to grow spiritually too as well?
Well, I went to private school where we had to have a relationship with God. That was placed in part of the curriculum. Yeah, so we had that relationship. I went to Vacation Bible School, Brenda Baptist. That's the name of the school. It's no longer here. So I went there and I learned to lean on God more as a child than probably most adults, because due to all the things that I was going through at home, like my father was on drugs here and there in and out of my house. My mom paying all the bills, taking care of us, providing. Some nights when going to bed, the jackets on, no air, no heat, sometimes no water, no food. All those things, even just bringing that up, even like being younger and having an older woman touch on you, and heightens your sexualness, and also changes you as a child. You're no longer innocent. Mm-hmm. So all those things contribute to the art being the way it is.
Right.
So the art is me dealing with the trauma, and putting it on canvas and really facing myself. There'll be some days when I'm in my studio, because I used to hang my art all on my walls. And some days you feel light when you walk in. Some days you can feel the heaviness. Because you can feel the heavy of what I was going through at the time on the canvas. Mm-hmm. And even people that will come by and visit, look at the art, check it out, buy the art, they be like, well, I feel something at this piece. Like, you was going through something. Mm-hmm. And I said, I'm always going through something. It's just how you deal with it. You just want to turn the volume up high, or you're going to turn the volume down low. So
I like that, man. Yeah. So what is your words of wisdom, right, that you live by today, either originated by you or originated by someone else, right? And your top 3 books that you recommend to as well, right? And also, how can someone reach out to you to be a big bro, a mentor to others, and to get in touch with your artwork?
Okay.
First question is, I was like, all right. Your first question is a quote that you live by today that was originated by you or created by someone else.
Okay. Quote I live by today. I had to, it's something I feel like I just made up. I gotta be strong for me, not everybody else all the time. And I had to learn that, because draining yourself is very serious, and it's for others, for the consumption to charge other people up.
Correct.
So that's a quote I will live by that I created.
Nice.
And the next question. What's the next question?
Next question is, let's give me one book that you would recommend someone
That's
to
funny.
read.
So I do a lot of like listening to videos, but the book that I've drawn to probably is like cliche, but I've been looking at this Basquiat book. It's like huge. So I read it and look at like all the things that he did and went through at that time, and it like understands. It's on Amazon. It's a huge book. It's real tall. I can't think of the title of it, but it's a huge book, and it just talks about how his life, how he broke down, how he tried to find himself, the individuality, and just even battling the art world so hard and being like, it's funny how he's so glorified now. He's glorified then, but he's also was like underlining compliments. Like they always never give him respect as an artist.
Correct.
Some like a graffiti painter or something. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like these different things that didn't really fully give him his due respect. And you know, a black man, most black men, we do anything for our respect.
Right.
So that's a book that I would recommend. Anything with learning his journey, especially navigating the art world. And the young kids question.
Yeah. So how can someone reach out to you to be a mentor or reach out to you to purchase your great art? And be a big brother.
I'm very I'm always on social media. It's a lot of my audience and a lot of my clients and repeated buyers from social media. So you can reach out to me on artofbing.com. That's my website, and then you can reach out on my Instagram, artofbing @artofbing, and my Facebook. You can write me in there too, Demetrius Reynard Bing, and I do a lot of meet and greets. Like I pick up a piece somebody loves out the inventory or whatever, and meet them somewhere, and we normally build a bond off of that if we didn't already have one.
Correct. Nice. I appreciate you coming to the show, man. This is Talking Riches, dog.
Right.
And you know, it's graphic. The injury is dope. The artwork is amazing. Appreciate you.
Thank you,
Thank
man.
you so much. To many more.
Appreciate that.
Many more.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.